Welcome to a chilling journey into the hidden darkness of suburban life. We all know the image: neat lawns, friendly neighbors waving from porches, kids riding bikes until the streetlights come on. It's the American dream, a place where nothing bad is supposed to happen. But that's just a story we tell ourselves, a fragile illusion that can shatter in a heartbeat. Beneath those perfect picket fences, there's a vulnerability we often ignore until it's too late. Today, we're diving into three terrifying true stories that rip apart the myth of suburban safety. These aren't just about burglars breaking windows or stealing TVs. They're about something deeper: intrusions that mess with your mind, cross boundaries you didn't even know you had, and leave scars that don't fade. So, grab a blanket, maybe keep a light on, and get ready. After these stories, your quiet street might feel a little less safe. Story 1. The Unseen Intruder. It was the summer of 2019 in Maplewood, New Jersey, a quiet suburb where every house looked like it belonged on a postcard. Ethan Parker was 17, a lanky kid with messy, dark hair and a tendency to overthink everything. He lived in a two-story colonial on Elm Street with his parents, Claire and David. Their house was their pride and joy: grass trimmed to the millimeter, windows sparkling, mailbox free of rust. Claire, a high school math teacher, and David, an accountant, were meticulous. Their lives ran like clockwork: dinner at 6:30 p.m., lawn mowing on Saturdays, no exceptions, vacations almost non-existent, leaving Ethan alone, never. So when they sat him down one June evening, Ethan was stunned. "We're going to Cape May for the weekend," Claire said, stirring her coffee. Ethan's fork froze halfway to his mouth. "Both of you?" David nodded. "You're old enough to handle the house, Ethan. Just don't burn it down." Ethan grinned, already texting his girlfriend Lila and Glenn. "This is huge," he typed. "Come over Friday." Lila was Ethan's opposite. Where he was cautious, she was a firecracker, petite, with a sharp laugh and a knack for trouble. They'd met in chemistry class junior year, bonding over a lab explosion that left them both smelling like sulfur. Lila loved pushing boundaries, sneaking into movies, convincing Ethan to skip study hall. "I'm there," she texted back. "This is going to be epic." Friday evening, the house felt massive without Claire and David's usual bustle. Ethan and Lila made spaghetti in the kitchen, laughing when Ethan scorched the sauce. "You're hopeless," Lila teased, tossing a noodle at him. It stuck to his shirt, and he flicked it back, both of them giggling. After dinner, they sprawled on the leather couch in the den, watching Stranger Things. The den was Ethan's favorite room: big bay windows opening to the backyard, plush beige carpet, a stone fireplace. Outside, the hot tub glowed, its blue light shimmering in the dark. Lila's eyes lit up. "Let's go in the hot tub." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Swimsuits are upstairs," she smirked. "Who needs swimsuits? Come on, live a little." Ethan's face flushed. "The neighbors, Lila. The Hendersons are right next door." Maplewood houses were close, and porch lights dotted the street. But Lila was relentless. "It's dark. No one's watching. When else can we do this?" Ethan's caution battled her enthusiasm. He'd always been the good kid, straight A's, never in trouble. His mum's voice echoed in his head: "Don't do anything stupid." But Lila's energy was infectious. "Fine," he said, heart racing. "But if Mrs. Henderson calls the cops, you're explaining." Lila laughed, dragging him outside. They grabbed towels from the laundry room, giggling like kids. The summer air was warm, the grass cool under their feet. They stripped down, tossed their clothes on a deck chair, and jumped into the hot tub. The water was steaming, bubbles tickling their skin. Lila splashed Ethan, laughing. "See, this is amazing." The stars twinkled above, and Ethan relaxed, letting the moment sink in. From the hot tub, they could see into the den through the bay windows. The room lit up like a stage. It felt safe, like they were still part of the house. Even out here, Lila told a story about her boss at the ice cream shop, her hands waving dramatically. Ethan grinned, thinking, this is what freedom feels like. They'd been in the tub for maybe 20 minutes when Ethan's eyes drifted to the den. Lila was mid-sentence, ranting about a rude customer, but her voice faded. On the far wall, a shadow moved, not a tree branch swaying, not a light flickering, a human shape, slow and deliberate, crossing the room before vanishing behind the fireplace. Ethan's stomach dropped. His heart slammed against his ribs. "Lila," he whispered, voice tight. "We need to get out. Now." She froze, catching his tone. "What's wrong?" Her eyes searched his face, playful spark gone. "Just move." Quiet. They scrambled out, water dripping, towels clutched tight. Ethan's mind raced. Who's in the house? The doors were locked. I checked. He grabbed Lila's arm, pulling her toward the garden shed. "Hide in there. Turn off the light. Don't make a sound. I'll come get you." Lila's eyes were wide, lips trembling, but she nodded. She slipped into the shed, the door clicking shut. Ethan's hands shook as he crept to the kitchen door. He grabbed a chef's knife from the block, the cold handle grounding him. The house was dark now, the den's lights casting long shadows across the hardwood. He moved slowly, ears straining for any sound. In the dining room, a chair was pulled out slightly, not how his mum left it. A family photo on the wall. Him, Claire, and David at the Grand Canyon was tilted, just a fraction. In the kitchen, a glass of water sat on the counter half full. Ethan hadn't poured it. His throat tightened. This isn't a robbery. No broken glass, no ransacked drawers. It felt personal, like someone was playing a game. Ethan's pulse pounded in his ears. He checked the living room, empty. The office, with its oak desk and bookshelves, clear. He whispered, "Who's there?" No answer, just the hum of the AC. Upstairs, he moved, room by room, knife raised. His bedroom, with its posters and unmade bed, empty. His parents' room, with its neat comforter and dresser, clear. The guest room, barely used, nothing. All windows locked, front door secure. How did they get in? Back downstairs, the silence was deafening. Ethan's bravado was fading, replaced by a cold dread. He called 911, voice shaking. "Someone's been in my house." I saw a shadow, and things are moved. The dispatcher was calm. "Stay safe. Officers are on the way." 2 cops arrived in 10 minutes, flashlights sweeping the yard. Officer Martinez, a burly guy with a calm voice, checked the doors. "No signs of entry," he said. "Windows intact, locks fine." Officer Carter, a woman with a sharp gaze, searched the shed where Lila was shivering. "Nothing out here," she said. "Maybe you saw a reflection." Ethan shook his head. It was a person. A shadow, moving. And look, a chair's out of place, a picture's crooked, a glass I didn't use. Martinez shrugged. "Could have scared them off. Call if anything else happens." They left, their cruiser's lights fading down Elm Street. Ethan brought Lila inside, locking every door. "What was it?" she whispered, her face pale. "I don't know." They barricaded themselves in his room, a chair against the door, the knife on the nightstand. Sleep was impossible. At 3 a.m., A sound jolted Ethan awake. Creak, creak. Footsteps, heavy and deliberate, from the attic above his room. His blood ran cold. He sat up, clutching the knife. Lila stirred. "What's that?" she whispered. Ethan shushed her, listening. The steps moved to the staircase, slow and measured, like someone trying not to be heard. His heart pounded so loud he thought it would give him away. "Layla, stay here," he hissed, slipping out of bed. He crept to the hall, knife raised, every muscle tense. The house was pitch black, the den's glow gone. He tiptoed downstairs, checking corners. At the bottom, the back door was open, cool air rushing in. No one was there. Ethan slammed it shut, locked it, hands trembling. They were here. They opened the door. He checked the house again, room by room, but found nothing. The silence mocked him. Morning light revealed the truth. The kitchen knife block was empty, every blade gone. Ethan stared, his stomach churning. A few items were missing. $50 from a drawer, a silver watch from the hall table, a Bluetooth speaker. But the knives, that felt like a message, a threat. When Claire and David returned Sunday, Ethan spilled everything, his voice shaking. Claire hugged him tight. "You're safe. That's what matters." David checked the house, shaking his head. No forced entry. How'd they get in? The police came again, but found no fingerprints, no footprints, no clues. Maybe a prank, Officer Carter suggested. Ethan didn't buy it. The shadow, the footsteps, the missing knives, it was too deliberate. He replayed the night endlessly. Where had the intruder hidden? The attic, a closet, under a bed. The mystery gnawed at him, a puzzle with missing pieces. That weekend changed Ethan. He'd always seen Maplewood as a safe haven, a place where nothing bad happened. Now, every creak made him jump. Every shadow seemed alive. He started checking locks twice, sometimes 3 times, before bed. Lila stayed over less often, their carefree spark dimmed by the memory. They broke up a year later. Not because of the incident, but because Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that she didn't take it seriously enough. Claire and David installed a security system, motion sensors and all, but it didn't help much. Ethan would lie awake, imagining the intruder coming back, knives in hand. He started researching home invasions, reading about lock-picking and hiding spots. The more he learned, the worse it got. How had someone slipped in and out undetected? Had they been watching the house, knowing his parents were gone? Years later, Ethan's in college, living in a dorm, but the memory lingers. He avoids dark windows, keeps a flashlight by his bed. Maplewood's perfect streets don't fool him anymore. Safety, he realized, is an illusion, one that can vanish with a single shadow. Story 2. The Masked Menace. It was April 2024, and Crestwood College in Fairhaven, Pennsylvania, was electric with a Willow Fest. The annual spring event transformed Oak Lawn, a sprawling quad in the campus's heart, into a carnival wonderland. Ferris wheels spun under twinkling lights, food trucks served sizzling tacos and sugary funnel cakes, students tossed beanbags in cornhole matches, and a stage thumped with music from a surprise indie band called the Lunar Tides. The air smelled of popcorn, grilled meat, and blooming lilacs, and laughter echoed across the grass. For Natalie Rivera, a 19-year-old sophomore studying biology, it was the highlight of the year. Natalie was short, with curly brown hair and a laugh that carried across rooms. She'd grown up in a small Ohio town where county fairs were the big event, so Willow Fest felt like home. Crestwood, with its red brick dorms, ivy-covered halls, and tree-lined paths, was a safe bubble in the quiet suburb of Fairhaven. Natalie loved college life, late-night study sessions in the library, sneaking pizza into her dorm, and pranks with her roommate, Jess Carter. Jess was her opposite. Tall, blonde, and always up for a party. They'd met freshman year, bonding over a shared love of true crime podcasts and bad coffee. That night, Natalie and Jess spent hours at the fest. They rode the tilt-a-whirl until they were dizzy, shared a plate of greasy fries with extra ketchup, and danced to the Lunar Tide set. Natalie wore her favorite gray hoodie, jeans and sneakers, her curly hair bouncing as she laughed. The campus felt alive, students crowding the lawn, their voices blending with the music. Fairhaven was the kind of town where people left doors unlocked and kids rode bikes until dark. Natalie never worried about walking alone, even at night. By 2 a.m., the fest was winding down. Rides shut off, food trucks packed up, and the crowd thinned. Jess wanted to stay with her boyfriend Mike, who was helping clean up the stage. "I'm heading to Elmwood," Natalie called, zipping her hoodie. "Text me when you're back," Jess shouted, waving. Natalie nodded, slipping her earbuds in but not playing music. She liked hearing the crickets and distant laughter as she walked. The path to Elmwood Hall was short, maybe 10 minutes, cutting through oak lawn and past the library. Streetlights cast soft glows, and the air was cool, carrying the scent of spring grass. Natalie felt alive, her sneakers crunching on the gravel path. She didn't check her phone, missing the group chat blowing up with warnings. Around midnight, a dozen figures in black masks had been spotted riding bikes around campus, banging on dorm doors and yelling. Students posted blurry Snapchat photos, captions like, "WTF is this?" Natalie, caught up in the fest, hadn't seen them. Natalie swiped her ID card at Elmwood Hall's entrance, the glass door clicking open. The lobby was quiet, fluorescent lights buzzing. Elmwood was an old dorm, with faded green carpet, scuffed walls, and a common room just off the main hall. As she headed for the stairs to her third-floor room, something caught her eye. In the common room, a guy sat alone on a sagging couch, staring straight ahead. He wore a black ski mask, not a surgical mask, but the kind you'd see in a heist movie. His hands rested on his knees, still as stone. Natalie stopped dead, her sneakers squeaking on the tile. Her heart thumped. Who wears a ski mask inside a dorm? She blinked, thinking maybe it was a prank. Crestwood kids were known for dumb stunts, streaking during finals, stealing dining hall trays, but this felt wrong. The mask covered his whole face, leaving only his eyes visible, and they were locked on the wall, unblinking. The room was dim, lit by a single lamp, casting shadows that made the mask look even creepier. For a moment, she considered speaking. "Hey, you okay?" But her gut screamed no. Then, like a switch flipped, he stood, turning to face her. His eyes, dark and sharp, met hers through the mask. Natalie's breath caught. Panic hit like a wave. She didn't think, she ran. Her sneakers pounded the carpet as she sprinted down the hall, her backpack bouncing. She ducked into the nearest bathroom, slamming the door and twisting the lock. Her hands shook as she slid shut onto the floor, back against the cold tiles. The bathroom smelled of bleach and damp towels, and the fluorescent light flickered. "What is he doing?" she thought, heart racing so fast it hurt. "Is he following me?" She pulled her knees to her chest, trying to breathe quietly. Her phone buzzed in her pocket, but she didn't dare check it. What if he heard? She counted seconds, then minutes. 5 minutes passed, then 6. The silence was heavy, broken only by the drip of a faucet. Finally, she crept to the door, pressing her ear against it. Nothing. She cracked it open, peeking out. The hall was empty, the common room dark. Natalie stepped out, legs wobbly. She told herself he was gone, maybe a drunk kid pulling a stunt. She walked toward the side exit, avoiding the common room. But as she passed it, she glanced over and froze. He was there again, sitting on the same couch, mask still on. His bike, a beat-up black one with scratched handlebars, leaned against the exit door. A wooden chair was jammed under the handle, blocking it. A trap. Her stomach dropped. This wasn't random. He'd moved the chair on purpose, knowing she'd tried to leave. Her hand fumbled in her pocket, pulling out her keychain with the pepper spray her mum, Maria, had insisted she carry. "Stay back," she said, voice shaking but loud. She held the spray up, not aiming but showing she meant business. His eyes followed her, but he didn't move, didn't speak. It was like he wanted her to be scared, like her fear was the point. Natalie's heart pounded in her ears. She edged toward the door, keeping the spray raised. Her fingers brushed the handle, pushing against the chair. It scraped loudly, but she shoved harder, and the door opened just enough to slip through. She stumbled into the cool night air, gasping, and ran. The path to Birch Hall, where Jess was with Mike, was a straight shot across campus. Natalie's sneakers slapped the pavement, her breath ragged. She kept looking back, expecting the masked guy to follow. Halfway there, she heard it. Wheels on asphalt, the whir of bikes. 3 more figures rode up, all wearing black masks like the first. They circled her, close enough to make her flinch but not touching. "Hey girl, where you going?" one shouted, laughing. His voice was muffled, mocking. Another waved something in the air. A gun. It gleamed under the streetlight, and Natalie's blood ran cold. She tried to tell herself it was fake, maybe an airsoft gun from a frat prank. But in the dark, with their laughter ringing in her ears, it didn't matter. They were trying to scare her, and it was working. "Leave me alone," she muttered, walking faster. Her phone was in her hand now, texting Jess, "Outside, Birch. Now. Please." The bikers kept pace, jeering. "What's the rush, huh? Scared?" one said, his bike swerving closer. Natalie's hands shook, but she kept her eyes forward, focusing on the lights of Birch Hall. Jess burst out the door, Mike, trailing. "Nat, what's wrong?" Jess called, seeing her face. The bikers peeled off, their laughter fading into the night like ghosts. Back at Elmwood, Natalie told Jess everything, her voice shaking. They had a gun, Jess, or something that looked like one. Jess hugged her tight. "You're okay now." "We're here, Mike," a lanky junior with a buzz cut, checked the halls, his phone flashlight sweeping corners. The bikers were gone, no trace. Natalie didn't sleep, replaying the masked guy's stare, the chair against the door, the glint of the gun. Her dorm, once her safe space, felt like a trap. The next morning she called her mum, Maria, in Ohio. "Mum, something happened," she started, then broke down crying. Maria listened, her voice calm but firm. "I'm calling the campus police. You stay with Jess." By noon, 2 officers were at Elmwood, taking Natalie's statement. She learned she wasn't alone. Other students reported masked figures that night, some with what looked like guns. One girl said they'd banged on her dorm window. Another saw them near the library. The police increased patrols, but no one was caught. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some said it was local teens crashing the fest, high on adrenaline. Others whispered about a gang testing campus security. Natalie didn't care who they were. The fear stuck with her. She stopped walking alone at night, always calling Jess or Mike for company. She kept her pepper spray in her hand, not her pocket. Crestwood, once her safe haven, felt different now, like a shadow lingered over its sunny paths. That night changed Natalie's world. She'd always trusted her surroundings, believed Fairhaven's quiet streets were safe, but the masked figures showed her how fragile that safety was. She started noticing things she hadn't before: the dark corners of campus, the way streetlights didn't reach every path. Her mum sent her a new alarm for her keychain, a piercing one that could wake the dead. Jess made her share her location on walks, checking her phone constantly. Willowfest was supposed to be the highlight of spring, but now it was tied to that night. Natalie still went to classes, studied in the library, hung out with friends, but the carefree girl who danced at the fest was gone. She wondered about the masked guy in the common room. Why sit there, silent? Why block the door? Was he watching her specifically, or was she just in the wrong place? The questions haunted her, unanswered, a reminder that danger could hide anywhere, even in a place as safe as Fairhaven. She started listening to her gut more, that primal alarm that had screamed, "Run." She read up on campus safety, joined a self-defense class, and pushed for better lighting on the paths. Her friends noticed the change. Natalie was quieter, more cautious. Jess tried to lighten the mood, dragging her to coffee shops or movie nights, but Natalie's eyes always flicked to the shadows. The suburbs, she realized, weren't as safe as they seemed. Danger didn't need a reason. It just showed up. Story 3. Betrayal at the Lakehouse. It was the summer of 2023 in Pineview, Connecticut, a wealthy lakeside suburb where mansions lined the shores and boats bobbed under golden sunsets. Jake Morales, a 22-year-old graphic design student, was home from college, living in his family's modest split level a few blocks from the lake. Pineview was all about appearances: BMW driveways, manicured docks, and cocktail parties that never ended before midnight. Jake, tall with a quick smile and dark eyes, didn't quite fit. His Puerto Rican Italian family was loud and close-knit, a contrast to the polished distance of Pineview's elite. Jake was dating Sarah Thompson, a 21-year-old with big dreams of becoming an influencer. Sarah was charismatic, with long auburn hair and a laugh that turned heads, but she had an ego to match. She worked as a counselor at a kids' summer camp in Riverton, a 30-minute drive away, which Jake found odd. Her family was loaded. Her dad, Richard, owned a chain of car dealerships, and her mum, Ellen, was always jetting off to charity galas. Why spend her summer wrangling kids? "I love it," Sarah would say, shrugging. Jake didn't get it, but he kept quiet. He'd learned early on that questioning Sarah led to arguments. Sarah's house was a 3-story mansion on Lakeview Drive, with floor-to-ceiling windows, a sprawling lawn, and a private dock where a sleek yacht sat. Richard and Ellen were rarely home. Business trips, golf retreats, you name it. Jake had been dating Sarah for 8 months, but he'd met her parents only twice. "They're just busy," Sarah said. But Jake sensed something off. Their family dynamic was cold, more like colleagues than kin. Sarah once joked they were 3 narcissists under one roof, then laughed it off. Jake didn't. Jake wasn't perfect either. Growing up in a loud household, he'd learned to avoid conflict, always playing peacemaker. Sarah's confidence pulled him in, but her habit of flirting with other guys drove him nuts. "It's just how I am," she'd say when he brought it up, her green eyes flashing. Jake bit his tongue. not wanting to seem insecure. But it ate at him, a quiet resentment building. When the camp planned its end-of-summer bash, Sarah's house was the obvious choice. "It's gonna be epic," she told Jake, her eyes gleaming. Jake wasn't thrilled, crowds weren't his thing, but he went to support her. By 8 p.m., the mansion was packed. Counselors spilled across the living room, patio and lawn, red Solo cups in hand. Music blasted from Bose speakers, hip-hop, then pop, then some EDM track that made the windows rattle. String lights glowed over the dock and the lake reflected their shimmer. The air smelled of grilled burgers and spilled beer. Jake stuck to the kitchen, sipping a Corona and chatting with a few guys about baseball. Sarah was in her element, dancing on the patio, her laugh cutting through the noise. Then Jake noticed Kyle, a camp counselor with a loud voice and too much cologne. Kyle was glued to Sarah, leaning close as she laughed at his jokes. He touched her arm, lingered too long. Jake's jaw tightened. Sarah caught his eye but didn't pull away. She's doing it again, he thought, his old insecurities flaring. Instead of confronting Kyle, Jake played it smart. "Hey man, need a refill?" he asked, handing Kyle a beer from the fridge. Kyle grinned, oblivious. "Thanks, dude." Jake kept the drinks coming, all smiles, pouring whiskey into Kyle's cup when he wasn't looking. They talked about nothing, cars, the Lakers, some dumb camp story. By 11 p.m., Kyle was slurring, his eyes glassy. He stumbled to a deck chair, passed out, snoring loudly. Jake smirked, feeling smug. Sarah wasn't amused. She cornered him in the kitchen, hands on hips. "You got him drunk on purpose, didn't you?" Her voice was sharp, her eyes narrowing. Jake shrugged, leaning against the counter. "He did that to himself." Sarah's lips pursed. "You're jealous." "It's pathetic." They bickered, voices low but tense. "I'm not blind, Sarah. He was all over you." She rolled her eyes. "Grow up, Jake." Friends pulled her back to the dance floor, and Jake let it go, but the argument stung. The party was getting messy, cups on the floor, someone dancing on the coffee table, a spilled drink soaking the rug. Jake needed air. He stepped onto the driveway. The cool breeze off the lake calming his nerves. Leaning against Sarah's Jeep, he looked up at the stars, their light faint against Pineview streetlights. Then he saw him, a figure standing at the edge of the property under a streetlight, just standing there, not moving, his silhouette sharp against the glow. Jake squinted, his beer buzz giving him courage. He walked closer, gravel crunching under his sneakers. "Hey, you need something?" he called, trying to sound friendly but firm. The guy stepped forward, his face shadowed by a hoodie. "Are the Thompsons home?" he asked, voice low, almost knowing. Jake froze. How does he know their name? His heart picked up. "Yeah, they're inside," he lied, hoping it would scare the guy off. The stranger nodded. "Okay." Then he turned and walked into the dark, not toward a car or house, just down the street, vanishing into the shadows. Jake stood there, uneasy. Weird, he thought, brushing it off. He went back inside, joining a card game in the basement. The basement was quieter, with a ping-pong table, old couches, and a faint, musty smell. Sarah was upstairs, probably dancing. Jake tried to focus on the game, laughing as a guy named Tom fumbled his cards. But the stranger's voice stuck with him. "Are the Thompsons home?" Why ask that? Around 1 a.m., the front doorbell rang. Jake paused, mid-deal. Sarah had told everyone to use the back door. No bell. There! His gut twisted, that same uneasy feeling from earlier. He excused himself, heading upstairs. Passing Sarah's room, he saw her passed out on her bed, shoes still on, a Solo cup tipped over on her nightstand. The party had wiped her out. Jake realized he was the only sober one left, a sinking feeling settling in. At the front door, Mia, a drunk counselor with smeared mascara, swayed. "Who rang the bell?" Jake asked, his voice sharp. Mia slurred. "Some guy. Said he's a family friend, needed to drop something off." Jake's blood ran cold. "You let him in?" Mia shrugged, stumbling off to join a group dancing in the living room. Jake's heart raced as he sprinted to Sarah's parents' room on the second floor. The room was a disaster. Drawers hung open, jewelry boxes lay empty, clothes were tossed across the floor. A laptop was gone from the desk. Jake's stomach churned. This was a robbery. Then, in the mirror on the closet door, a shadow moved, quick and deliberate. He spun, but not fast enough. Someone tackled him from behind, knocking him to the carpet. The guy's weight pinned him, his breath hot and sour. Jake gasped. The wind knocked out of him. The intruder clawed at Jake's shirt, ripping it like he was trying to intimidate him. Jake's panic surged, giving him strength. He shoved back, elbowing the guy's ribs. The intruder grunted, scrambled up, and dove through an open window, landing on the garage roof with a thud. Jake staggered to the window, just in time to see a dark figure sprint across the lawn and vanish into the trees by the lake. He didn't chase. He couldn't. His legs shook, his shirt torn, his breath ragged. Jake sat on the floor trying to process it. The party raged downstairs, oblivious. He was done. Exhausted and shaken, he called the police, asking them to clear everyone out. "It's a safety issue," he told the dispatcher. Officers arrived within 20 minutes, their flashlights cutting through the dark. They knew Sarah's family. Richard was a big deal in Pineview, so they didn't make a fuss, just herded the drunk counselors out. Jake woke Kyle, who puked on the deck before calling an Uber, mumbling apologies. The next morning, Sarah was oddly calm. "It's just stuff," she said about the stolen jewelry and laptop, sipping coffee in the kitchen. Jake stared, incredulous. "Someone broke in, Sarah." "They attacked me," she shrugged. "My parents will deal with it." When Richard and Ellen were told, they were furious, but didn't call the police. "No cameras, no point," Richard said over the phone, his voice clipped. Jake couldn't shake the feeling the intruder knew too much. Sarah's parents' names, their absence. Was it someone from the camp? A friend of Mia's who knew the house? That night cracked Jake's trust in Sarah. Her indifference, her carelessness, it all added up. They broke up months later, her flirty habits and cold attitude. Too much to handle. Jake moved on, but the memory lingered. The stranger's knowing voice, the fight in the dark, Pineview's perfect facade hid a truth. Betrayal could come from within, from the people you thought you knew. Jake started seeing Pineview differently. The mansions, the yachts, the smiles, they were a mask. He noticed how people locked their doors now, how neighbors whispered about break-ins. He started carrying a pocket knife, checking his car's locks obsessively. His family noticed the change. His mum, Rosa, asked why he seemed so jumpy. "Just tired," he'd say, not wanting to worry her. He wondered about the intruder. Had he been watching the house, waiting for the party? Did Sarah's carelessness, leaving doors open, inviting strangers, make it easy? The questions gnawed at him. Jake threw himself into his design work, sketching late into the night to keep his mind busy. But every creak in his apartment, every shadow outside, brought him back to that night. Trust, he learned, was a luxury he couldn't afford anymore. These stories, Ethan's Unseen Intruder, Natalie's Masked Menace, and Jake's Betrayal, reveal the hidden dangers lurking in suburban life. They show how quickly safety can vanish, how trust can be broken, and how fear can linger long after the danger is gone. Your gut is your best alarm system. Listen to it. Danger doesn't always look like a monster. Sometimes it's a shadow, a masked stranger, or someone you thought you knew. Stay vigilant, even in places that feel safe, and foster open communication about safety in your home and community. If you've experienced something unsettling or have thoughts on these stories, share them respectfully in the comments below. Your insights matter. Stay aware, stay safe, and never ignore that prickle of unease.